my name is Ilene Rein. I'm an executive recruiter and a job search strategist with Pounding Pavement 101. I am here today with the super fabulous Maria Castillo Dominguez. We're talking about your finances and your career. Thank you so much for being here. Maria, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Ilene. Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Castillo Dominguez. I am a certified financial planner and the founder of Valoria Wealth Management. I focus on helping professional women navigate their financial life, professional women and their families. I work with clients across the country and I help them with anything that they need in finance.
Thank you so much for being here. Before we go into today's topic, I want to remind everyone to subscribe or follow, depending on the social media channel you're watching this. So this way you get alerts every time we post new content for you, your career, and your job search. So Maria, today we are talking about understanding the equity compensation in RSUs. How do they work in a job offer?
Restricted stock units, I love this subject. It's very often now that many companies are offering RSUs or restricted stock units. What this is? This is a form of equity compensation, meaning the company is issuing shares, so you owe the company, right? You own the company. You're looking at two main things when you're joining a company if they're offering you RSUs. One is the sign-on or on-hire bonus. That is a specific amount of shares that they are offering you to join the company. Now, in most cases, you may be able to negotiate this. Companies are more willing to negotiate the amount of shares that they are giving you versus other things like vesting period, etc., that we can talk a little bit more. But this is something that you can negotiate to. Is a sign-on bonus, basically, how much am I willing to give you to join my company. The other one is actually the annual RSU compensation. This is something that they give you and it's based on performance. This is once you start working with the company, they are gonna keep issuing you shares based on your performance and your compensation with the company. So what are we looking at here? So we're looking at two main things, grant amount and grant date. This is the time where the company is issuing the shares to you, but they are not yours. So it's not yours yet. So you want to look at how many shares they are giving you, one they are granting you. There is nothing for you to do here. No consequences for you. You cannot do anything with it. They do not belong to you yet. But you want to know how much they are offering you when. And the other one is the vesting schedule. This is when becomes yours. When they vest, now they are yours for you to do whatever you want. Two things to take in consideration here. There is a vesting schedule for most of the shares that they are going to issue. The most often that we see is usually 4 years vesting. Meaning, let's say for easy math, that they give you 100 shares over 4 years. Well, 100 shares are not yours yet. When they vest, they become yours. So it is 4 years. The first year, you're going to get 25. The second year, you're going to get another 25. The third year, another 25. And you will end the 4th year with another 25. So they will keep issuing shares to you as part of your compensation with vesting schedules. Very important that you are aware of when the shares vesting, obviously because they become yours, but also because they become taxable to you. This is taxable income to you.
This is incredibly important. You need to be aware of this because all of a sudden you can get hit with a huge tax bill, I would think.
Oh, more than likely you will. This is something that we see very often is when they issue the shares, when they vest the shares, there is a portion that they withhold for taxes. So basically, let's say that they give you 25 and they may withhold 3 shares, just for easy math. 3 shares to pay taxes. Many cases, this is not enough. And people get surprised later. They think, oh, I pay my taxes, I'm good to go. In many cases, it's not enough. How much taxes you're going to owe is going to depend on your income. If you're married and you're filing jointly, you need to add your spouse's income to your income. So you may be in a high tax bracket. But very important, know that this is when it becomes taxable to you and you may owe more taxes than when you think at that point.
So incredibly important to be talking to your financial advisor to be aware of what might be coming down the pike so you don't have any surprises. And I'm sure many people at the end of a year all of a sudden get that surprise tax bill and say, wait a second, what happened? I even planned for this. So that's why it's so important to reach out to a financial expert like you, Maria.
Yes, especially one that understands equity compensation, how they work, what are the rules. It's important that you talk to someone who understands the rules behind the RSUs.
And we were just talking that you work with people of all ages without those minimums. So even those early on professionals who have problems getting into a financial advisor, they can contact you. So this way you can set them up to succeed from day one in their career.
Exactly, yes.
So incredibly important. Now, what happens if all of a sudden someone is leaving their company? What happens to those RSUs? And what happens if it's a layoff? What happens if they're leaving by choice?
Good question. So the best thing is tied to your continuing employment with your company. So in most cases, if you leave your company, whatever is not vested yet, you lose them. So make sure that you understand what is the vesting and how many shares you have vested and how many shares you have not vested yet. Because you're gonna lose the ones that are not vested if you leave your company. Sometimes it can be thousands of dollars on the table. When do they vest? Is it worth for you to wait a little bit to get a bigger payout because you may have a large vesting coming for a lot of shares?
And I will tell you that some companies, if you're going to that new company, if you tell them that vested stock that they'll cover the difference in the compensation. They'll add that on as an additional bonus. And I've had that happen with a couple of candidates as they're switching jobs.
Yes.
What happens though if it's a layoff? Because that's a whole different situation. You didn't plan on this. You were planning on being at the company. You were waiting for that vested stock. Yeah. What do you do?
So they may, depending on the company, the regulations are different, the rules are different, but they may offer you a grace period where they may accelerate the vesting, they may let you take certain things. So you may be able to negotiate if you're being laid off, review your vesting, review your share, review your RSUs, and try to negotiate how much you can bring with you, because sometimes they're willing to negotiate or give you a grace period of time. The same if you're retiring. If you're retiring, they may offer you the situation where you can accelerate your vesting or you can vest while you are retiring.
So incredibly important. So it's best, my takeaway is best to speak to a financial advisor like you to educate you in all of this. So this way you have a better understanding, and this way you can then go and have that conversation with your company.
Yes.
That would be my recommendation. So Maria, thank you so much for doing this. We're going to continue our series on financial information for career professionals and job seekers. I want to remind everyone to subscribe and follow to get alerts every time we post new content to help you in your career and your job search. My name is Ilene Rein. I'm an executive recruiter and a job search strategist with Pounding Pavement 101. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Ilene.